Hello and welcome to the latest dev blog for the Foundation. This week I didn't get done quite as much as I'd hoped for, and a few technical problems that got in the way. We'll talk about those in a second. So first on to some of the small things that were done. First of all, I added in the old Soviet bloc as a region. This kind of makes sense with the Foundation's history and their interactions with the GRU as a major group of interest. It just made sense to give the GRU a playground, a region to call their own home. This means that they ate a little bit out of the Middle East and a little bit out of the new Indochina region and a little bit out of Europe in order to make that region come true. But I think that'll work better for some of the game structure in the long run. Also, Europe now has Iceland. North America used to have it, but it made more sense for Europe to have it, so that change was made. Second of all is the two things that took the most pain and suffering and time this week. So stupid. Number one is these little red dots. I've put in the concept of cities into the game, and the main accomplishment with doing this is that these have been placed via their latitude and longitude and not by pixel coordinates. And they're also done through the external configurations, so anybody can add in their own cities that they want to. They can put in their hometown if they want to. They can do whatever they want. And as you can see from the various locations that these are at, they're pretty dead on, especially if you see this next part. When I click on these, we have a GUI window that pops up here. So I clicked on Washington, D.C., it comes up, displays some information. There's room for more information as the concept of cities develops. But as I scroll around the world, it continues to display me the information. Getting these dialogues to display next to their corresponding city locations was a super pain, but necessary because a lot of pop-ups and things that will occur later on down the line need to have this kind of relationship and in the world, and it had to be tackled at some point, but it was a super pain. So was placing by latitude and longitude, but now I can place anything I want to on the map by latitude and longitude, which is a good thing. Lastly, the thing I want to show is how events have been coming along. So we're going to sit here and spawn an event. There are multiple classes of events: SCPs, anomalous activity, red herrings or strange but explainable events, and group of interest events. Since the simulation right now only has SCP events on its mind, it sometimes takes a while for it to generate an event. But I have it set to pause here when it's generated an event, so we know that it's generated one. If I click on my agent overlay that I demonstrated last week, we can look around the world and see that despite the fact that an event has been generated, it is nowhere to be found on the world. And this is because events now have several statuses. An event can, when it first appears, just like in the SCP universe, an item, an SCP, or some sort of strange event probably completely misses the Foundation's notice for a while, and the Foundation has no idea that it exists. The second state is noticed, where the Foundation has noticed that there are strange effects coming from this event, but hasn't figured out where it's taking place or why. And the last state is located, which means that the Foundation knows exactly where and what is causing the anomalous activity. I'm going to go ahead and generate another event here. So now we can see, if I look up here, I've generated two events now. We can see that one has spawned off of the coast of Russia there, but that there is no other event here to be seen. So one is still hidden, and this one is either at a noticed or located state. Now coming up soon, I'll have it that once they are located, they will have an icon or a pop-up that displays without the need for overlays, as an emphasis that this should be responded to. When you click on that icon, it will then bring up the options to respond to and take care of that particular event. And that is one of my goals for next week, is to further this event interaction, as it is the main part of the game. So that's some of the things I've worked on this week. Let me know what you think. There'll probably be a video coming up shortly next week to show some of this external configuration that allowed these cities to come into existence. And many other things are going to be done through external configuration as well, so it should be pretty exciting to see some of those options that will be available to even people with very low experience with coding and modding. These cities, for example, and events will be able to be done by people with little to no coding knowledge, with just the ability to use a text editor. And so I'm going to try and put a video together as soon as possible to show how some of that will work. But let me know what you think, and I'll see you next week.